All right, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to this new It's-based game jam Let's Play. Sorry, I'm like messing with my camera now, like a hot twin. Yeah. And we're playing. We're
All
playing
right, hello,
Stalker
good
2.
morning, good
Oh shit,
afternoon,
I
good
can hear
evening.
myself.
Yep, that's my bad. Sorry, I didn't know that.
It's okay.
I didn't know I had
It's
the
okay.
volume on.
That happens a lot. So this is Stalker 2 on Xbox Series X.
Series X.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, we're live, and Dean is playing, and I don't know anything about this franchise. Never heard of it. Now, well, I've heard of it. I heard of the first one, and I saw that when the second one came out, there were some people doing Let's Plays. So there's definitely it's on the radar, but I don't know anything about it. So, Dean, why don't you catch me up to speed, and anybody who's watching, if you've played these games, maybe you know something.
Sure. Well, I've not played any of the games before that. It's called Stalker 2, but from what I understand, it's actually the fourth game in the series. But you play as, and maybe someone in the chat can explain this better than me, that's more familiar with the series, but it seems to me that you play as someone called a stalker, which is essentially like a mercenary here in like this Chernobyl like exclusion zone, where you have like crazy artifacts and anomalies, mutants. It kind of hits a little bit of a Fallout vibe, but a little darker, a little more serious, a little more grounded in most ways.
So it's essentially an FPS in terms of perspective, but it's got, looks like I see, you have a radar at the top with some objectives or something, sort of pointed out, some arrows. So some things
Yeah,
to
it's
do.
it's open world. There's quests, side quests, tons of locations, and tons of cool stuff to do.
Does it have like RPG elements, like you level up and stuff, or
There are no
upgrades?
levels.
Okay.
It's one of the downsides that I think, something I don't like, is, for example, the mutants and stuff. Like, they don't give you anything. Like, they don't drop anything or whatever. They just drain your health and take your bullets away. That's about it. So there's not a whole lot of reason to fight them. It's kind of just better to avoid them or just let the NPCs waste their time shooting at them if they're nearby.
Yeah.
But there's no like XP or loot to gain from them, so there's not really any reason to kill them
Oh,
if you can avoid it.
so
But
so
you can
you're
definitely
not,
kill the people, and you can take their stuff.
yeah. So you're not. There aren't as many incentives to fight monsters. Like, there's no XP, there's no loot. There aren't even like resources like skins and body parts and stuff that you can use. I don't know.
No, there isn't, which is very surprising to me.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of explain like where I am.
Yeah.
I started off down here at this area called the Fault, and I've been all throughout this area and did all the main quests for this area, which is called the Lesser Zone. But as you'll see here, like there's
Oh,
a
wow.
lot more.
It's huge.
I don't know if there's. Oh, clearly there is. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Hold on.
Oh shit. Mutants.
That's Stalker for you. These are like mutated like boars, I think. Oh shit, my gun jammed.
Oh, your gun jams?
Yeah, failure to eject. Yep. This guy reloads the shotgun very slowly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the game doesn't
hold on.
pause when you go to the map.
No, not when you're in your map or your inventory. You have to like actually like press pause. Otherwise, it's all real time.
Yeah. Keeps you on your toes.
Oh yeah, no, you can't let your guard down unless you're like in a town or something. So there we go. That's that right there is a good introduction to Stalker.
All right. So what's the
but for
story?
now-
What's the story that you know at least?
So when I first, so I have this on Game Pass, and I wasn't really that invested in it. I was just trying it out because I didn't have to pay for it, and I just kind of wanted to see. I just kind of wanted to check it out because everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay that much attention at the beginning. I was just like, oh, okay, like whatever. So I'm a little fuzzy on some of the earlier details, but I guess like you started off at this like fault line, which is like a break in the wall or whatever. To get in here,
Yeah.
you're scanning anomalies and stuff like that, and then I guess like the guy that you're working with got sold out, and things kind of went haywire. So I'm just kind of searching for answers and all that stuff.
So it's kind of a mystery already.
Yeah, it feels that way. Someone who probably paid more attention at the beginning can correct me on some of that. But the gameplay is so fun, like it's kind of carried itself.
Yeah. So the gameplay loop is, I mean, I guess you should play the game and we'll see. But so this has survival vibes to it. Is that true? Like do you have to like, it's kind of like a survival horror or something?
That's Wikipedia classifies the game as a first-person survival horror shooter. I don't know about the horror elements, but there is some very mild survival stuff to it. Like you have to eat and sleep or whatever. But something to the game's detriment is it does a really poor job of conveying those things, of what that actually affects or how often you have to do it. The game has never told me that I have to sleep. I had to like Google that like separately because I saw that you could sleep.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really tell me that. At the bottom left, when you're hungry, it'll just appear with a little food icon, but it also doesn't tell me much about that, any details or. So some of the bad things about the game is it could be a little bit better with some of its conveyance. I think there's definitely some things I felt like I was going in blind to. I might change it.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
ahead. No, it's okay. You go ahead. Finish.
Just say I might change it for the purpose of the stream if you want me to. But the spoken language is in either English or native Ukrainian. And the English voice acting, I'm usually not a stickler for like voice acting stuff. Like I know like people who watch anime, like a lot of people are like die hard, like they love subs, and some people watch dubs and don't care. I'm kind of in the latter. Yeah. But the voice acting I thought was pretty unconvincing in English and kind of lackluster, so I did change it to Ukrainian. But if the audience wants me to switch it to English, if that's easier, then I don't mind doing that.
All right, well, let us know in the audience, guys, if it matters. I kind of like the Ukrainian. It does feel more authentic,
Yeah,
it's almost like watching a foreign film now, is what it is. So, does this game have anything to do with another series of games that this feels like? Somebody in the chat said this, and I was thinking about this. Master Goa said, I think Metro games are related. So, the Metro series, I heard really good things about that. I think I have one in my wish list, but I don't know. Whoa, what the? Oh, is that? What are you doing?
So the game has several anomalies, and this is one of them. It's like a hard to spot because it's mostly clear, but it's like a gravity anomaly. If you were to step into that, it would damn near kill you. So you can throw something, I guess, metal, and in this case, it's like a bolt. But you throw them into the anomalies to like stop them for a second.
Yeah.
And they do come back. And so that beeping that you hear always tells you when you're near an anomaly. But the scanner on my left will tell me if I'm near an artifact, and the only way to hear that or see that is to have it out. If I'm near an artifact, which are usually present around like patches of anomalies, you can find it and dig it out, and they usually fetch a good price. And they have like cool abilities too. They work like you've played like a Dark Souls or a FromSoft game before?
Sure, I played all of them.
They kind of function like rings in like the Souls games.
So you keep them you kind of equip them in your inventory, and it gives you like a passive.
But they have downsides too.
Okay.
Like they all have cons as well. Most of them I've seen so far just give you like extra like radiation as a con.
I see.
I should probably have the scanner and the pistol just in case. Usually, unless I'm in like full-fledged combat, I usually like to have the scanner out because you never really know where where an artifact is going to be. I love that, like the containers in this game. You just, yeah, you hit them rather than like actually open them.
Cool.
We were talking off air a second ago. Oh, I missed this one. We were talking off air a second ago about like feminism and stuff. And I think we talked about it last stream a little bit too.
Yeah.
About how it's kind of like the default position and how our society is pretty much gynocentric and has been for quite some time.
Yes. Yes, and I'm glad that you said that. Where did you hear gynocentrism as a concept? Where did you start hearing about that? Do you remember?
I don't remember where I first heard. It's a thought I've had for quite some time. But I don't remember where I heard the term first.
Okay, I was just curious because.
I want to say it's something. It's a term I've been using for at least 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
If I remember right. Where did you first hear it?
Well, I mean, I heard it when I started doing the work I do with Honey Badger Radio. There's a guy named Peter Wright who runs a website called gynocentrism.com. And he writes a lot about this. And actually it doesn't, the funny thing about this specific, let's say, concept of gynocentrism. Oh, I see an anomaly there. It's like it's like Predator, you know. But the thing about it that is really interesting is it actually really upsets people to acknowledge this thing. I don't know why. Like, I think that, like, when you know, and it makes a lot of sense that, you know, like, if human beings have to care about themselves as a species, then we have to care about the controlling factor in our population, which is women, because they're the ones who have babies. So, like, that, it's just like a natural, like, you know, whether you sort of like believe in you know, some kind of evolution or adaptation as a concept or not, it just makes sense, you know. So, but yeah, he's been writing about it for a while. But even like other people that, you know, I've worked with before, like men's issues advocates and stuff, they don't like gynocentrism because they feel like it sounds to them a little too determinist, like biologically determinist. I don't think it is, but I think they see it that way. So what's a okay? So it's called stalker because you are a stalker. Is that like a certain type of person in this kind of world, like world building, this lore?
It's like a freelancer basically that comes in here for artifacts and such, from what I understand.
Yes.
Я від Зотова. Шукаю полковника Коршунова.
Почекай, я доповім. База Коршунову, прийом. Пане полковнику, у нас тут...
Do you speak any other languages besides English?
Каже від Зотова.
I used to be somewhat competent at Mandarin, but
oh, yeah,
I forgot pretty much all of it.
Before, yeah.
I still remember the grammar rules, and that's about it.
Because you mentioned this game, we're listening to the Ukrainian voiceover, and what I was wondering about is it that much different from Russian?
I think if I was told correctly, the difference between Ukrainian and Russian is kind of like the difference between Spanish and Portuguese, where there's a ton of overlap, but they are distinct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that might make sense. I dated I dated a couple of Russian girls back in my day, but I dated this one girl from Moldova. Man, she was so amazing. Anyway, but
is that something I have to ask? Is that something that got you into Orthodoxy? Like, do you if you might go on journey going to like?
No, that's not how I got into Orthodoxy. That was like in 2014 or something. I was seeing her, and we were going to the same school, and she was this girl from Moldova, and where I lived in Chicago, there was a neighborhood really close by called the Ukrainian Village, and it was all these like mostly Eastern European people lived there, and there were Orthodox churches there, but I wasn't even thinking about that stuff at the time. I just remember she got kind of excited. We were walking through those neighborhoods because it was everything was in, you know, Ukrainian, I think, because it was Ukrainian Village. But there were Russians and Polish people and others that lived there. And she said that there's a lot of similarities in the languages. Like, she can kind of, like,
І
you
в
know,
чому його особливість?
she can kind of make out what's being said. Like if it's a grocery store, she can kind of tell by the signage.
А для них
So it's kind of
звичайний
interesting.
факт.
Yeah.
Один із сотень.
Yeah, I guess the reason I was asking was obviously because, like, Russian Orthodox is one of the bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger version.
Yeah, around here where I go, the church I go to here is the OCA, which is the Orthodox Church of America. Very small, but it's growing. But there's also Russian and Greek Orthodox churches around here as well, although I've never been to them. In Chicago, they're mostly Russian Orthodox or, sort of Eastern European, like Ukrainian and other countries that are sort of in the same area. Master Goa says, I think feminism is the default for society because in mind, it's a core of liberalism. Unfortunately, we live under the liberal world order. It's funny that you should mention that. I didn't watch the video, but there's this channel called Dad Saves America. And the guy does a bunch of interviews, like this Italian guy. And he does these interviews with people. And he interviewed Christina Hoff Sommers. And if you guys remember Christina Hoff Sommers from Gamergate, so this is sort of related. She was involved with Gamergate 1, and everybody called her Based Mom. And she had this thing where she was the factual feminist. It was like a different kind of an.
Wait, is this? Oh yeah, this is like a whirlwind one. That one will fuck you up. Am I thinking of Based Mama, like the Kilroy lady? Is that?
No,
that's
that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
No, Based Mama turned out to be, well, obviously a fraud, I think.
Oh yeah, no, big time.
Yeah, huge. But
The
no,
Kilroy thing exposed her pretty hard.
The bit, yeah, dude, it broke my friend. Like, I think Dave Cullen, he really believed in it strongly. He's still a really good man, but pigs or something.
I don't think I've seen this. Oh, okay, I've seen these once. They're like these weird, like ethereal mutants.
Oh, they sort of fade in and out. That's kind of interesting. Is it dead or is it just teleported?
I don't know. Last time I fought these, it didn't go well.
So
There's so many. Holy shit.
Get them, I get up on something. Oh my god, it's taking so long.
This guy needs to take a 3-gun course, bro. Holy shit, this guy can't reload. Oh fuck. Failure to eject.
It's an interesting. I like that attention to detail. It does sort of like get the heart pumping,
Yeah, it's very. I like jams in general as the mechanic in shooters, like more realistic shooters.
Yeah.
Is that all of them?
What? No, I hear the.
No, I hear more.
Else. Yeah.
There you are. Still hear another one somewhere.
I still hear them. Yeah.
There's one.
What were you talking about before? I already forgot.
We were talking about Kilroy.
Yeah. Right. So Christina Hoff Sommers, she's been around longer than Based Mama. Based Mama came a little bit later, and from the beginning, I gotta tell you, I got like a bad vibe from her. Like there was like kind of attention seeking about her, And this, the funny thing is that she became like very popular very quickly, and I was like, yeah, it's the tits. Like I just knew it. And it's true though. It's really annoying because there are people who I think are doing like they're saying really interesting things, they're doing really good work, but they don't get any attention because they don't have the tits. And it's I don't know, it's just really frustrating. But so she was working with a few people. One of them was Dave Cullen, who used to have a channel called Computing Forever. And he was like one of the early adopters of this whole, he was one of the early on guys that felt very strongly about this. And I'm friends with him still. He's Irish guy. He's moved to, he stopped doing YouTube videos a long time ago on his main channel. Now he just talks about stories and stuff on YouTube because it's safer. Kind of like what I'm doing here. But on BitChute and other places, he gets into more of the other stuff that he's interested in, like the politics and stuff. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Based Mom, that's Christina Hoff Sommers. She was around a lot longer. She used to have a series of videos, I think they were called The Factual Feminist, where she was like kind of pushing back on what she thought was like these kind of woke excesses of feminism. And so she would basically like debunk myths like the wage gap and whatnot. But the thing about Christina Hoff Sommers, and I always felt this was true, is that ultimately she was still trying to defend these sort of liberal principles, right? And so that's going back to Master Girl's comment about the liberal world order. That's what I've been saying for years, and I still have to do this, like with the people that I make shows content with, where they're like, you know, I am a liberal and I don't think this is bad, and I was like, yes, it is. You allowed this though. Like when the problem, and I'm gonna probably make a video on this on my own channel at some point. The problem with liberalism is that it places tolerance as the highest virtue, and it doesn't actually analyze whether or not something is right or wrong. So it still embraces enough postmodernism, enough of this like sort of like moral relativism, because it wants to allow for everything, and so you ultimately don't stand for anything. And that's how leftists can co-opt everything. And Christina Hoff Sommers did this interview with this guy. And the title of the video, I didn't watch the video, but the title of the video was, oh, there's something over there.
Oh,
the title of the video was something like, are those humans?
Yep.
Oh, they were.
Oh, fuck. Another failure to eject.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh. I'm concussed by that grenade blowing up next to me.
Whoa, dude, that's cool. I like the attention to detail. And, your thing's going off.
Yeah, it's because of that. That's an anomaly right there.
Oh, I see. Well, at least you got some bullets out of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, the problem with that is that it's essentially places tolerance and acceptance as the highest virtue. And the truth is, that's one of the reasons that's the thing that got me to look into religion. Because I was like, well, this can't be correct, because you're essentially going to allow people who will be intolerant towards you, right? So you have to and it also, you know, just being tolerant, it's kind of an empty thing, because what you're really doing is you're saying, this makes me a better person than other people. That doesn't do anything for anybody. That just makes you feel good about yourself. It is a virtue signal, exactly. So it's like, yeah, like for example, transitioning children or underage people, or anyone for that matter, should be something that we can talk about like rationally, because just allowing them to be trans is not actually doing them any favors, because they may end up realizing that they were wrong and you allowed it, and now they want to, you know, end themselves, which is going to happen. There's going to be a great detransitioning, I promise you, and people are going to be like, how did this happen? Dude, you're surrounded by radioactive stuff. This is this seems to be like way more detailed than like Fallout.
It's, you know? The things that this game does right, it does really right.
Yeah.
The immersion in this game is the best I've seen in a while. I'm right on top of this thing. It's got to be real close.
There's a creature. I hear it.
I hear it.
I saw it.
Oh shit! I have not seen this before. That's a fucking used to be a person. Holy shit! That's new.
That sounds bad. So yeah, and anyway, so like the thing is, Christina Hoff Sommers, even now, even after all of this, her primary concern is not that that her belief system is wrong, but it is that essentially like that, you know, feminism's getting a bad name and I have to like clear its name. What the hell?
Oh, there's another one around here. There's two.
Yeah, this place looks like it's buzzing. So
I've never seen two in one area before. It's really cool.
I'm gonna read some chat here. Master Girl says Ukrainian is an offshoot of Russian. A Norwegian says, one thing I've noticed is that many fathers will downplay their role in supporting their pregnant wives. It's like they think mothers are the only ones deserving of praise. Yeah, I mean, I think there's room for both, but I think it's more than just being a mom or being, well, I don't even want to put it that way. let me see. There's a difference between being someone who has children and being a parent. I'll put it that way. Because there's plenty of people in the world that have kids, but that doesn't make them parents. Master Girl says, how many conservative feminists do you see? Well, a lot. A lot. But they're not conservatives, though. They're not conserving
Yeah, it's an
anything.
oxymoron.
Yeah. It's an oxymoron. But for example, like these, like, what's her name? A lot of these, like, supposed conservative commentator types, right? Like Megyn Kelly and, you know, Millie Weaver and all these that, you know, they, and all, there's plenty of them. I'm just saying at the end of the day, they're not actually, like, living the, the actual, like, life of a non-feminist woman. They're still girl bossing. I mean, these are the people that, you know, Andrew Wilson often has to debate. You know, so.
Yeah, and I think some of those people duck him as well.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think this is maybe speculation on my part, but it seems like he has some sort of, like, I don't know if I want to say beef, but some sort of issue, I think, with Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire, because I think they were supposed to talk a few separate times, and I think Michael kind of, like, pulled out.
Yeah, they won't do it, because, like, I think this is the reason why they'll get on people who aren't really good at debates, because they're trying to maintain a kind of status quo.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to corner the market for sure of
Yeah.
like this space. You know, they keep like acquire. I think that they might even acquire Tim Pool, his stuff.
Yeah.
There's been like a lot of rumors about that, and I think that that's probably going to happen at some point. Like maybe when Tim has a kid soon.
Oh yeah, maybe. Uh-oh, something.
Oh shit. But that was, we were talking off air, the girl, I don't know her last name, but her name is Deborah. She's like this, like, blonde, like, Jewish girl, like late 20s, I would assume. Oh shit. Why am I
You're
getting
getting
hit by acid
radio.
here? I'm not even in it.
Maybe there's some, like, on the path. Deborah. I don't know.
She's been on whatever a lot, and that's mainly what I know her from, but I guess she works for the Daily Wire now.
Oh, that's the woman that debate. Okay, I don't. Is she that's not the OnlyFans girl that, like, found Jesus, is it?
No. Oh,
Okay.
Nala? No, fuck
Nala.
no.
Yeah.
Have you seen this controversy lately, though?
That it turned out that she lied for about everything because she found a new way to monetize simps. I mean, essentially. Like, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it too deep. My wife and I have been talking about that whole thing a lot, though. Where, you know, I said, because she was like, this is like what some other women have also said, that, you know, well, we have to give them the room to, the room, we should be, like, you know, what is it, generous or gracious to these people. And I agree with that, like, but if they're monetizing it, I don't think that this essentially qualifies them to, you know, be like a face, because that you have to worry that this isn't more like another way of attaining some kind of vainglory. So, but I mean, I don't have been following it super close. The Nala
Well, I think
stuff.
the newest controversy with the Nala stuff is, and obviously, yeah, like, we should want, you know, people who used to do shitty shit to stop doing shitty shit and, like, you know, find truth. I think that's
they should have
a great thing.
they should have space to, like, what is it, repent or whatever, but
Yeah.
we shouldn't, like, be quick to jump on the bandwagon because we really want, like, these people to like us. That's one of the problems that non-leftists have, is that they really want the left to like them, and it's, like, just not that important, dude. You know?
For no reason.
Yeah, well, they just want to validate their belief because they feel, I think that a lot of people who are not on the left, they feel like their beliefs are marginalized, and then I think it often puts them in a position of questioning their values, like, am I wrong? Am I the bad guy? Because you get so, like, bombarded by this narrative, right? Uh-oh, you found
I
something.
think it's above me. I think it's on that platform.
Something's coming, dude. I hear something. Something wild. Or I'm
I think it's just the acid.
Oh, look, no, wait. Oh, okay.
Because I think I killed that mutant guy in that like tub of acid, that like acid puddle.
Yeah.
So I think it's just kind of eating at him.
Can you like
But,
climb up on things in this, or?
Yeah, but I'm
Gotta get
carrying a
up
ton of
there.
stuff, so I can't. I'm not as mobile as I could be.
Oh, okay.
Alright, chat, there's a lot of beeping in this game.
It's all right. Let's see. I'll read some more chat comments. I was just thinking you can get up there if you. Can you climb up? You know how some games like Doom, they let you know if you like jump to a ledge, you'll pull yourself up. Can you do that in this game or no?
Not really. But you can, you can kind of get around it like I'm trying to do now. There is definitely a way I can get up here, for sure.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah.
I guess like before you do that, like, about the Nala thing, like the most recent drama about this is, she recently went back on whatever and she's like preaching all this kind of stuff or whatever. But like, she's not actually like a Christian, like at all, like definitionally. And that's like what the issue is. Because Andrew and Rachel Wilson were criticizing her about this.
Yeah.
And like she denies like the Trinity in a way. Like she doesn't think Christianity is a religion, and
What?
she says that the Eucharist is just like grape juice and crackers. So
What?
yeah, that's what we're talking about, and people
Dude,
are
I
like being
didn't
really
know that.
disingenuous
I mean, it
with
doesn't-
the
it
framing.
doesn't-
There it is.
Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me, but what's that?
That's the other artifact that was up here.
Вітаю, сталкере. Це професор Зарецький.
I wonder what it does.
Є робота, яка може вас
Is it
зацікавити.
Professor Zelensky?
За цими координатами.
Is he also money laundering? No, it's his name was Professor Zelensky. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. That should be in me. And look, I don't want any harm to come to these people. Just don't let them influence you. It's like, okay, you've basically outed yourself as fake. I'm just gonna move on now. And maybe you probably shouldn't ever have made this into a thing to begin with. Maybe you should have always been just like saying, I hope you like figure out your shit and you do better.
The
See ya.
issue though is like
Right.
is that she's like on. Oh no, my game freeze.
It looks like it.
Wow.
Oh, no,
okay,
you're,
there we
you're
go.
good. You're good.
People on PC have been having issues like that a lot. I have not had a single freeze, crash, save file issue, none of that. And I was about to
Yeah.
say it would be, me streaming it when that starts. It would make a lot of sense. But the thing is like the criticism is she's like out here like teaching people or whatever, and she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Yeah.
She doesn't know a thing about it. Like if you think that Christianity isn't a religion, the Trinity, she doesn't understand the Trinity at all, and she's quote unquote not a Trinitarian, which means definitionally like she's not a Christian.
Yeah.
And also, if she
Well-
thinks that the Eucharist is just crackers and grape juice, like that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends. Like a lot of I don't know about a lot about Protestantism, but a lot of Protestants they don't necessarily talk about religion in terms of or Christianity in terms of the Trinity. They don't do communion. A lot of them. Some do. A lot of them don't even do confession. That I don't know
Yeah.
if that means they're not Christian, but they're not at least pretending as though Catholics and Orthodox are doing it wrong. I think that they're just like Protestants just have a different approach, I guess.
That's the realm that I come from, actually. Like that's what
Yeah.
I was raised in. I was raised in my opinion, totally soulless, like non-denominational sect.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of disdain towards like the
really?
higher church. Yeah, big time. Like, we were basically taught that like Catholics were fucking terrible,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah,
But we didn't
a
really pay
lot
much
of-
attention to Orthodox. I didn't really know much about it until I like seeked it out myself.
Yeah, a lot of Protestant churches are captured basically. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all like, oh, like, it's just about like your personal relationship. It's up to your interpretation. It's, which I now know is why there's a trillion different fucking heresies. But, like the Catholics are idol worshippers. All they give a fuck about is Mary. Like
Yeah.
all like this, the concept of saints is evil. Like all this kind of crazy shit. And, I'm really glad that I don't believe those things anymore.
Yeah.
But they drill that into your head like big time.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get that. And again, they end up like, because of that, they don't have any boundaries. It's like the church itself is liberal. I actually went to a Protestant church here in Roanoke, Virginia, when once we first moved here, and my wife and I were like, we're gonna start going to church, and went to this like place called the Lighthouse Bible Church in Vinton, and it was all right. Like that guy, every so often, like my wife and I will go to our church, our Orthodox church, and then we come back Sunday, midday, and I'd be like, oh, let's see what the Protestants are doing. That's how I would say it. I would go look at the Bible church, the Lighthouse one, and that guy's like, they haven't let any of that shit creep in, because that's the thing. Like this kind of like these liberal ideas, they creep into Protestantism. That's why Protestantism is so paused. It's it's cooked mostly.
Yeah, I think.
But
I used to think that the Catholics were like awful for like opposing that and opposing the Reformation and all that stuff. But now I'm like, yeah, like they were totally right. Like there's just a million sects of Protestantism now, and they all believe various, like in my opinion, sorry to offend the chat, nonsense and heresy. And yeah, that's definitely an issue. It's a huge issue. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have thought that back in the day, but I think I know more now, and I'm willing to admit that I was wrong beforehand. I mean, I was a filthy libertarian at one point, so I've been wrong before. We're talking about liberals or whatever, and tolerance as a virtue. That's what libertarians are.
That's the problem with libertarianism too, is that it doesn't believe in a kind of like moral value judgment outside of the NAP, which I agree with the NAP, but I think there's other things outside of that should be taken in consideration. Like simply saying, well, you're not hurting anybody because you drink like a fifth of vodka every night, doesn't mean it's not going to harm you're not harming yourself in some way. So
yeah, the problem with the NAP is like you have to, which non-aggression principle, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's like the core tenet of libertarianism with, Ron Paul as their messiah. But,
yeah.
Like, you really have to get into the nitty-gritty, like, autistically about defining harm if you're going to go by the NAP. And it gets into the weeds real quick. And then eventually, like, if you get really into the weeds and you're really honest about it, you really can't even be libertarian. Because you then have to realize, like, okay, like, maybe this is harmful and this is harmful, so maybe I can't do this, or maybe people shouldn't do this. Like you're talking about, like, if you're chugging whiskey every night, like maybe you're quote unquote not hurting anyone else, but you know who you're hurting? You're hurting yourself, you're hurting your family, and anyone who gives a shit about you, because you're going to become a fucking destitute alcoholic.
Yeah. The other issue with with libertarianism is it's the same problem that the commies have, is essentially the human nature problem. Like, you're never going to live in a society where everyone is abiding by the NAP. Like, there are, like, it's just like, whether it's because of IQ or culture or whatever, you can't turn people into automatons that will abide by that principle. You're just not going to have that. This is why Libertarian Party in, but I don't know if it's, I would say in every, part of the world, it never gets off the ground. I mean, the closest thing was like Argentina with Javier Milei, and even then, I don't think he's going to get like, he's not going to go into a full libertarian thing, because what he's going to spend probably all of his term is like untangling the bureaucracy that ran that country into the state that it's in. And it was only through significant suffering that the people were like, you know what, screw this, we're going to try and, reverse course. So, yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's realistic. That's, the way I see it, too.
I hope my game didn't freeze. It would, like, no problems until the stream.
It's okay.
Just kind of how it goes.
Well, you might have to like restart it. So somebody in the chat did say, I think it was Master Goa.
There we go.
He said, "Good morning. I heard this is cyberpunk levels of broken." I don't know.
It is on PC. It is really, honestly, these two freezes I've had in these last 5 minutes are the only two I've seen, and it did like unfuck itself. Yeah. But this is like 13 hours or so into this playthrough. Those are the only two issues I've actually had. There are, like I was saying earlier, some issues with certain like mechanical conveyance and whatnot, which is like a design problem. Mm-hmm. But the game is far more stable on Xbox than it is on PC, from what I understand. Like,
All right.
magnitudes more.
Yeah.
So if you have the Xbox Series, I would recommend playing it on that. Just maybe until the PC version gets patched, or whatever. How did I get on this before?
I think you
might have
jumped.
did this.
I think you did that. Yeah. I like you're looking down. Like, okay, can I make this jump? Can I do this? There you go. Yeah, platforming in first
Jumping
person.
takes.
Like, is there a solution to this problem? Because I don't know if I platforming in first person is kind of a pain in the ass, but it does, like, people want to do it because it feels more immersive. You just dropped that guy in the acid.
I think that's what he wanted me to do, isn't it?
He's gonna come back as the Joker.
Oh, maybe there's a different body he wanted me to do that with. Whoops.
Oh, you just threw some other guy.
Isn't that the final boss of Arkham Asylum? Like, Joker gets put in, like, acid or whatever, and then becomes, like,
Is that
the super Joker.
Is that Arkham Asylum? No, I thought he took like
I
the
think
Bane.
so.
I think he took like the Bane juice. And
Okay, it could have been
like
that. It's been a long time.
Yeah. I think of what was the movie? It was the old Batman 1989 Batman with Jack Nicholson's Joker, where he falls into a vat of chemicals, and that's where he gets.
I just watched that for the first time recently. Believe it or not.
Oh shit.
Oh fuck. Yeah, it hurt a little bit. Like, I dodged the brunt of it being behind that fence. I just watched that movie for the first time recently.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I actually loved it.
It's good. The only thing I don't like about, or the only thing I think doesn't age well, is the soundtrack. The
Really?
Prince soundtrack. Yeah, because it kind of dates itself. It's kind of like I think that Batman Returns. I don't know if you've seen that one with Catwoman and the Penguin. That's probably my favorite Batman movie, period. And I know that seems like a sin because everybody loves The Dark Knight, but I like Batman Returns is the most comic booky, and it's kind of honest with itself about what it is, and it still has the Tim Burton stuff, but it doesn't have the problem of like a pop culture or a pop song soundtrack. It just has like a score, that Danny Elfman score, and he went ham on that one too. So
I think I was supposed to throw that body not in the acid vat. I was supposed to throw it in that like whirlwind thing.
Oh.
And so I totally wasn't paying attention. I totally fucked that up.
So
that's okay. It was optional.
Okay, so there are optional objectives that you can fail, and it doesn't break the game, obviously.
Oh, the game. Oh shit. The game is actually very open ended. In general, with like its quest design, which I really enjoy. I can even be like there's no one, like, for example, like Skyrim has like unkillable NPCs that go like unconscious or whatever, which is, I think, is very lame. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
This game doesn't have any of that. Like, I can be like, okay, like I have the choice of, for example, like giving you a quest item instead of the initial guy that I was supposed to give it to, and you'll give me this extra reward. Okay, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out and take it back and give it to the original guy and keep the rewards.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that all day, and I love that. One of the missions that I have that unfortunately seems very fucked up, and strictly from a lack of mechanical conveyance, is actually I have to go find an Orthodox icon in this like really cool like poppy field that like puts you to sleep. But the reason I haven't finished it yet, it's really cool. But the reason I haven't finished it yet is I think like you're supposed to chug energy drinks to keep you from passing out, but it doesn't seem to really work well.
Oh, you
And I thought I was
might
like
be bugged or something.
I thought I was like a dummy. I'm like, why can't I get this to work? But then I was like searching forums and stuff, and other people have the same problem. They're like, this is like totally unworkable. So
What a shame.
not just me.
Well,
Yeah, I hope they fix it because it's really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say they'll probably fix it. Let's see. Master Goa says tolerance means not having any red lines because you don't have much you value strongly enough to put your foot down over. Yes. Then he says those are fake conservatives that are just conservative for attention, not because they are actually conservative. Well, they don't like, especially female conservatives, to be honest. They don't want to face what being like what really being conservative looks like. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to preserve a kind of middle ground version of conservatism. Just like the feminists that they want to conserve a certain kind of feminism. Like, I liked feminism a lot when men weren't in my bathrooms or playing my sports. Even though I supported feminism right up until that point, and I didn't think that this was going to happen. So it's kind of like, well, yeah, but this is the thing I always say when I hear people complaining about men and women's sports or men and women's bathrooms or men and women's prisons. I'll be like, well, yeah, but you were for feminism until that happened. Like, this is your fault. You went with this because you didn't want to go with whatever, like, what essentially pushing back to whatever point you would need to prevent that. Like rejecting queer theory, rejecting gender theory, rejecting all of those things. That's how we got here. That's feminism. That's all. That's where it came from.
I often think that, like, conservative women, in a way, a lot of them are also kind of virtue signaling, just to a different crowd.
Yeah. I think that there's, like, the thing was that guy sinking?
It looks like he's falling through the floor.
Yeah.
I experienced like no bugs in this until I start to stream it. That's usually how it goes.
This could be entertaining in its own way. It's okay. I kind of want to see. I want to see his feet though when you're done talking to him. See if he is underground. Oh yeah.
Oh, yep, you are thinking.
These are anomalies too.
How do I get in here?
Let's see that. I'm gonna look at some more chat. You guys are saying a lot in here, so that's cool. Norwegian says, the problem isn't them praising their wives for giving birth, it's that they completely belittle their own role because they feel that they didn't contribute anything, which is wrong. Fathers take care of their wives during and after pregnancy, and without dads, there's no pregnancy to praise the woman for. Well, that's, and it's going to sound weird, but when men do that, there is a little bit of, it's kind of like, when white people cape for black people and brown people, there is this presumption that those people need them to cape for them. And I know some people make the argument that's racist. I don't like the word racism. I don't think it's a real thing. But I there is a kind of condescension around that. Like, I am going to, speak for you. And that's why it's called virtue signaling, because what you're doing is you're saying, please don't treat me the way I think you should treat other white people. That's men that do that. They're doing something like that with the women in their life, or just women in general. They're basically just saying, without me, women would be, in all kinds of trouble, whatever it is, right? And no one would ever give them credit, so I'm gonna do it because I'm a good man. And that's really what it is. Just like this. Is that guy gonna kill you? You might have to kill everybody in here to get in.
No, they just want me to not approach them with my weapon drawn. I forget.
Oh, you made them a little anxious. Can you climb up there?
No, the barbed wire will cut me. It's according to the map. It's the chemical plant. It's got the same icon as the town from before, so it should be like a base. I just don't know how to get in there. I don't know. Maybe they just won't let me in yet. I'm not really sure. Someone's getting fucked up in the distance there.
You heard about, well, I feel like that's changing the subject too much, but there was this game, what was it called? I actually covered it on my show, and it was kind of a survival horror game too, but it had like a 4-player co-op, and you had to essentially you were like scavengers caught between like warring factions in this like extremely dark, like setting. What the hell was it? You're carrying like these big backpacks and you have to like try not to get spotted. It was a pretty interesting game. Forever Winter is what it's called. You ever heard of the Forever Winter? May have mentioned it.
No. Yeah. Sounds like a cool concept though.
It is an interesting concept. I don't know how well it's doing, but it's been out for, I don't know, like a month or so. Okay, so anyway, back to the chat. Most churches are captured by their 501c3 tax exempt status. That is a good point, Master Goa. Master Goa says, I want to go to a Latin mass one day. Well, I think it's pretty similar to an Ortho Divine Liturgy, which I do every Sunday. So, I mean, when we're able to make it, sometimes we have to work.
Як і ти.
I hate. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Скільки вартівські
No, I was just gonna say, like, you know, about like the liturgy. I remember like before I went to one, and you know, I was just kind of like interested in orthodoxy and searching. Like I kept hearing like it's really hard to explain the liturgy. Just go to one, and you know, you gotta like see it like firsthand.
клусі.
And I was like, okay, like, and they were so right. It is like coming from a background of like non-denominational, like whatever. It is absolute night and day. It's not even close.
Yeah.
The liturgy is amazing. I would highly recommend it to anyone.
Well, there you go.
Не повіриш, але я до варти з великою мрією прийшов. Зробити так, щоб провідники більше нікому не були потрібні.
Master Gawa says, I hate FPS platforming.
Лише від периметра до прикладу.
I've gotten pretty used to it. I mean, it's pretty big in games like, I don't know, Titanfall, Apex, like every Call of Duty for quite a while. You kind of have to,
До варти
you know, floor it and get on this box and this box and this wall, and
то тобі куди?
I think it's just something you get used to.
А раніше краще було, зона вже не та. Ти часто таке чуєш? А як на мене зараз саме те.
Master Goa says, I hate FPS platforming. I hate people who think FPS is perfect for everything. It definitely sucks with martial arts. What's a game that
Tell
uses
that to
martial
the-
arts in FPS?
Well, they're gonna do that. Fuck, who makes it? That like first-person Indiana Jones game that's about to come out.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember who makes it, but
Ой, без проблем.
it looks a little weird
Вони наперед.
being in first person.
Yeah.
Рівних доріг.
Oh, what's
Martial
going on
arts in
with
first
my-
person does sound weird, yeah.
Хай, які буде що розповісти.
Something's going on with my
На моя
video.
лава.
What's going on here?
Бути добру, друзяко.
Oh, I'm watching it on stream right now. It's like super stuttery.
Yeah, but now it's not. It seems fine now. I don't know what happened. It just stopped stuttering. Let me look at my... yeah, I'm not getting any issues with my stream health, so should be fine. I don't know what that was.
Is
Maybe
it?
my... It should be
Oh, I'm
fine.
watching the stream now. It's fine now.
Yeah, just... I don't know what it was, but when you were in there doing that thing, it just was really stuttery. But then it was fine.
Was it on my end? Like, was the Discord on your end? messed
Discord
up?
was fine, but it was just in my open broadcaster software. But it seems fine now. Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Oh. Weird.
Let's see. Back to the chat. Yeah. So what was the thing you said about FPS martial arts? Somebody's doing something.
Oh no, Master Gawa said like an FPS would be a horrible perspective, like for martial arts. And I was talking
Indiana
about
Jones.
the Indiana Jones game, like a first-person one that's coming out soon. I'm blanking on who made it, but I know
mean,
it's
like,
for Xbox.
What do you think about just melee combat in FPS?
Most FPS games don't censor around melee combat, so I guess it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, they usually have a melee. Well,
Just
I
like
mean-
a melee mechanic.
what if you played Skyrim and you just wanted to use swords?
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good example. Oh, they got a G36 in this game.
See, one of the things about it that's kind of hard is that you can't. It's like the depth. It's hard to read like how far your weapons reach. You know.
When you said melee, I immediately thought of fist fighting, but yeah, duh, like Skyrim and Oblivion and all that.
Or lower the gates.
Or lower the gates.
Yeah.
I think. Well, Lower the Gates didn't do this because we didn't have time because it's a game jam. But
Yeah.
For example, like Oblivion and Skyrim, like they have like a cursor, right? And so like that cursor will change and indicate like when you're within range of hitting somebody. I think that's kind of a good way that it conveys range.
Yeah.
It's something that we had planned on doing for Lower the Gates and didn't have time for.
Yeah. That's an interesting option, but even then I don't know, you feel like maybe okay, so I know that you worked on Lower the Gates, you didn't have a lot of time to do, because it was for a game jam. But if you were going to make a game that had first person melee combat, what are some ways you think you could solve the problem of, you know, because like I actually am playing through Cyberpunk 2077 and I'm trying a different kind of build because I hadn't played it for like a year or so, and I just, when I have free time I play it, and I'm doing a kind of just a melee focused build with a katana, and I think that I'm getting way too close to people because I'm trying to make sure I can hit them, and it's putting me, it's making the game hard for me because I can't tell, you know, like it's almost like the camera is, if it was like sort of distorted in a way where it looked like you had more reach than you did, or then, you know, that's going to create some problems. So maybe it would make more sense if your hitbox reach was further out than what it looks like. Maybe not really far out, but like, you know, just like to sort of fudge it a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think... Oh, the map didn't come up? Okay. I think that's kind of what we do normally, I guess, when designing that, is that you always want it to be a little bit further. So, like, you always want to be a little more gracious. And the term escapes me, but this also applies to other genres, like, for example, 2D platforming. There's a specific term for it that completely escapes me, but the way to describe it would be you get a little bit of
Can you climb on that pipe
leeway.
and then go over, or no?
No.
Yeah, probably not.
No. And if they don't want me in there, I don't want them shooting at me either.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a concept in like 2D platforming games where it gives you a little bit of leeway when approaching like the edge of a platform to where normally like you'd fall off, but it gives you like a little like for like quarter of a second of like timing in order to
Yeah.
Oh shit, they're fighting someone over here. In order to make that jump, so you don't just like drop like a rock like when you get to the edge.
Right, right.
But games do shit like that all the time, and I'm pretty confident that like first-person melee games do that as well.
Yeah,
It's something that we explicitly talked about with Lower the Gates, so I know that more like high-level games do that for sure.
Yeah, when I play, one thing it makes me think of is the old Mega Man games, the 8-bit ones, where you can like nudge, because they like literally had a mechanic in it where you can nudge Mega Man, and he would just move his one little foot by like a tiny pixel, and you could use it to get right up to the edge of something and not fall off.
Yep. And you'll remember in the very first one of the classic series.
Yeah.
It was very. I don't think they had this mechanic in it, like the thing I was just describing. So you do fall like an absolute brick when you fall off of something.
You'll hit the wall and fall like a brick. Yeah.
That's a game we were almost going to stream that today. I almost picked that actually.
I love Mega Man. I have multiple copies of the classic collection. A lot of people like X. I mean, the X games are okay, but I always love the original Mega Man. Like, that's always been my favorite. I was literally listening to the music this morning while I was driving my wife to work.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think gun to my head, I prefer X, but like, you know, I love all of them. But my favorite is not even a 2D one. My favorite is Legends 1.
Oh yeah, Legends good. We get to break the whole thing, huh?
Yeah, when it's all flipped over like that.
Yeah. So, okay. Robert Nobafan says, I love hearing some of the feminist salt that claims transgender is a men's rights campaign. Never mind who is really responsible for it. Well, you know, feminism is built on the idea of essentially blaming men for everything, even though they literally created the conditions for this whole transgender thing to happen. And honestly, it's harming men and women. Like, let's be real. Like, men are choosing to transition for a number of factors, but not least of which is the fact that they think that it's easier to live as a woman, and that they would get treated better as if they were women. And I mean, I literally interviewed a guy who was transitioning because he thinks that his life would be better if he lived as a woman. And women are transitioning because they buy into all this bullshit about patriarchy, and they're like, well, shit, I'm gonna game the system. I'm gonna become a man, and then I'll benefit. And they're literally like finding out the reality. I think
that like they would be right
themselves.
if they could actually be women, but you can't actually become a woman. That's not actually a real thing.
They think they can work around it, though. I also think they're addicted to porn too, and that's another issue. But
oh, that's a whole other can of worms.
But that's
sure.
part of it, though. I think that's part of it. Like,
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it's also like evidenced by the fact that I think it's in here, like this little loot is in there. I don't know how the hell to get to that. I think it's evidenced by the fact that you ever
Destructible
see
environments? Oh,
some of them, but not these pallets though. I don't think.
maybe you can climb up. It kind of reminds me of this dungeon in Elden Ring where you're like surrounded by all these giant pots. And you have to like jump up on top of one and then move around to get... Did you just... There you go. See? Wait, that was...
Platforming. There we go.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, I think
Platforming
it's evidenced by the fact that, like, you ever hear stories about the female to male like troons, and they talk about how
Sure.
like people do like think I'm a guy, and but, like they are more convincing. They're still not totally convincing, but they're sometimes more convincing.
Oh,
It's easier to
definitely.
take testosterone than to undo testosterone.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, like life is so lonely as a man. Like nobody gives a fuck about me. Like no one's
Yeah.
touched me in like a year. Like
Yeah.
and they have a really high suicide rate as well. Like
Yes, they
being
do.
a guy isn't always better. Like there's
Well,
pros and cons.
I think men can handle it better, like the loneliness and whatnot. Like I
Yeah.
think they can, because women are not accustomed to it. They're accustomed to attention. So
Yeah.
like their reality check is way more punishing in that regard. So
I couldn't agree more. I wanted to go back to something that you said earlier though.
what?
A few minutes ago, you said that you didn't believe in racism. Like, what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that, well, let me see how I can put this. I go by what Jesse Lee Peterson says. He says there's no such thing as, and he lists off all of these isms. I think that the word racism is something used to essentially like get power. I think it was created by people who use it to grift. But essentially believing the truth that can you break those? Can you tell which ones you can break and which ones you can't?
That box looks a lot like this one. I know these ones you can break. But no, sometimes I stab something and it just, it's clear it doesn't break. Yeah, not the
Anyway.
best conveyance in the world, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So, anyway, so what I mean by that is, obviously there are differences between groups, like, genetic differences, genetically distinct groups of people, and they have their, whatever trade-offs, ups and downs. And when people like have a judgment on that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that racism is not it's not really a statement that observes reality. It's a statement that's trying to make a moral case. This is why you have this thing where people will say, well, you can't be racist against white people because they've already constructed that paradigm of this is what it means. When I would rather just throw the whole thing out and like, it doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge that there are different groups of people, but I think the way that we talk about it is, it's intentionally engineered to like keep us kind of, looking at things in the way that these grifters, these race hustlers want us to. So, for example, is there a difference if you went to Africa and you asked an African man what he thought about African Americans or black people, they don't like them, and even though they have the same skin color. So why is that? Well, because they have very different cultures, but also there's like other factors, right? It's not just like, you have this, or for example, when people use the word white, this is like something that I've talked about on my show. I don't like using the word white to describe white people, even though I just did just now, because I think it's an oversimplification. Like a guy from Wales and a guy from, France and a guy from Italy and a guy from America, like they're all white, or a guy from, Hungary or Poland or Greece, they may all be considered white in one sense, but they're not similar to each other. Like they have different cultures, they have different religion, they have different genetics. They're just not the same. And I think that does a disservice to people. I talked to my wife about this too. Oh shit, it's like a kangaroo rat.
Yeah, got it.
Like my wife, we did our 23andMe. We both did like a while back. So now the government has our data, but whatever. We didn't know at the time. It was years ago, like when we were first talking about this stuff. And, she learned that she has like a significant amount of German and Ukrainian in her. And so, when we talked about that, I was like, oh, well, because she was like, well, I thought it would be English. Uh-oh, there's a critter. Do you hear it?
Yep.
It's a grunting sound.
Oh, fuck.
Whoa.
I don't have the stamina for this.
Oh shit, another one. Oh my god, what?
Got him.
Whew. That was rough. So yeah, that's kind of like my general view on it. I mean, I'll still use like whatever words people will understand best, but I think that in the long run, it would be okay if we understood that like some of the ways that we talk about race is what my main goal is, essentially to get away from the leftist paradigm, the leftist framework of everything. And that means like we have to, in my opinion anyway, at least like much more closely examine like what it is that's being said, because when they set the rules, then you can't win. And I think you have to operate within your own set of rules that are based in truth. And that means you have to get a little bit autistic about it. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So that's what I mean by that. Does that make sense?
You have to, you have to determine, even like semantics, I think is what you mean, like by that last part, like the autistic thing. But no, I agree. Like, we kind of exist within like their paradigm and like their worldview, and like we operate within their worldview, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
That we've ceded that much ground.
Yeah. Like, I mean... there's something under there? Oh, shit.
Yeah, and my stamina is so low because I'm carrying so much stuff. It takes so long to recover from.
Do you need to, like, find a place to drop all the stuff off?
Yeah, I was hoping I could get inside that base there, because in the other base, like, I've got, like, my storage and stuff like that. But, I guess they won't let me in yet.
Okay. I missed a bunch of comments. Let me just go back to the chat really quick. Norwegian says, was that one guy Asian? Yeah, that's the funny thing about Russia too. This is something that, like, once my wife was getting into her own sort of genetic history, she realized that, like, just the Russia alone has so many different ethnic groups. And yet, like, this is why I think it's a disservice. Like, the left just calls them all white. And that's annoying because it's like, but there's so much variety. Like, you guys know
it's kind of like an erasure in a way.
It is. You know who said that? That's actually a really good point. There's a guy named E. Michael Jones. You guys know E. Michael Jones? Uh-oh. Is that a trap?
I got it.
Not anymore. It's just stuff. Oh, that's interesting. So E. Michael Jones writes, and he used to have a series, a magazine or something, like a periodical called Culture War, and he's been doing this for a very long time. And he's quite based, maybe too based, definitely too based for YouTube. So you might want to look him up. But he's talked about this framing, and this is one of the things that kind of reaffirmed what I have been thinking about. He calls it identity theft. When you just refer to a group of people as white, black, or brown, or even just like Latino. Like, my family's from Puerto Rico. That's where they were born. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. I have Puerto Rican roots. But what is a Puerto Rican? Well, then when I look into my own genetic history, it's not like Puerto Ricans are this one thing. They're actually a combination of West Africans, Spanish people, obviously. So that would be Europeans. And natives, like local natives of the island of Puerto Rico that were called the Taino. And so I'm a mixture, and natives, and this is another thing, natives are technically Asians. Like they have more genetics in common with Orientals, right? Because they crossed the Bering Bridge or whatever, the land bridge, way back, and that's how natives got into the Americas. So natives are basically Asians that just grew up in a different part of the world for a long period of time. So if I'm all those things plus a little bit of like Middle Eastern, how can I say Puerto Rican as though it's a very simplistic thing. And how can people essentially throw me in with Mexicans or Guatemalans or Salvadorians or Brazilians or whatever, even though, you know, like our languages are almost identical, but even then, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Mexicans, their Spanish languages are different. They have different, like, slang, they have different ways of speaking. That's why when you hear a Mexican speak Spanish, it has a certain sound, and when Puerto Ricans speak it, it sounds different, even though they're saying the same words. So, I think that it is ultimately identity theft, because I like that. I like what I am, but I don't make it like my whole identity. You know, I mean, my wife is basically, you know, Canadian, and that's another thing. Like Canadians, they have such a low. I don't know if you guys know this, but they have such a low opinion of themselves that, as because they're white, which of course they just kind of like all lump all of that in too. When a lot of Canadians that emigrated to Canada, you know, they have roots all over, right? Like France and Dutch and Norwegian countries and Eastern Europe. And so that makes them different as well. A lot of Ukrainians in Canada. Is that your normal walk speed because you're so burdened?
No, I don't know why I'm going this slow right now.
Oh.
Shouldn't be the case. I'm near max, but I'm not at max. I should be slow, but not that slow.
Oh yeah, I see that.
I think this game does a horrible job of conveying like status effects, and I've noticed sometimes when I'm getting like hit by an enemy, like I get like a
I see a
like
weight.
an encumbrance increase.
Yeah, I see a weight.
That's simply
thing.
due to my carry weight. Like that's always there.
Oh, I see.
But like sometimes like I'll be close to fully encumbered and I'll get hit by an enemy and it'll make me stop like dead in my tracks.
Huh.
And I'm not really sure why it does that. The game does not do a good job of telling me why. But I think it's some sort of like status effect.
Yeah.
So it should wear off, but it's very annoying.
Yeah, so E. Michael Jones calls it identity theft. I tend to agree. I think that that's what we should be, because I think this is one thing I really admire about Italians, is that they know they're Italians, right? They don't call themselves white or whatever, because they're being Italian is unique in its own way. And this is also a good way to debunk the kind of a lot of the ways that, like, you know, race hustlers and leftists talk about white people. You know that meme, like, white people don't season they food?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, obviously it's ridiculous. Spanish people are considered white if you live in Spain. You know, Italians, the French, the, you know, Greeks. I mean, are you going to tell me that those people don't season their food? I mean, I know it's not even true for other groups anyway, like, you know, but it's a ridiculous claim, but they can make it because they've already erased your identity. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, white people don't really stand up for themselves at all, I feel.
No, they really should. But they should do
and,
it from
you know,
the perspective of, like, where their roots are. Like, I'm Italian, and this is what it means to be Italian. Like, you don't... Because then you end up kind of, like... you kind of surrender into that globalist kind of view about people in general. Like, your nation of origin doesn't matter, no matter... And I think that's silly. I mean, Americans have their own story, too. So, I'm sorry.
But what
Go
do
ahead.
you think about the argument of, like, you know, maybe you have a different perspective, you know, like, than I do, being white, but I'm sure, you know, you're in the right circles. I'm sure you notice an extraordinary amount of people who don't like white people right now and are very open about
Absolutely. Yeah.
it. So if, like, the enemies, quote-unquote, of white people, like, don't make a distinction between them, should white people make the distinction between themselves, or should they, like, kind of, like, come together and, you know, buck this horrible trend?
I think that people who are being classified as white people can obviously, like, you know, collaborate or work together to fight against this hatred. But the thing is, what we should understand is that it's okay to discriminate. That's kind of where, because the purpose of calling things racist or sexist or homophobic or whatever is to say that, like, the idea of discrimination itself is bad. And I don't think it is. I think we do it all the time. I think that people should know that we do it all the time and that it's okay to do that. And, but I think that, I guess I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I do think that people who are under the umbrella that the left calls white should work together to reject that and fight back against that. But they can stay like, you know, like they shouldn't lose their own identity in the process, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So comments, a lot of comments I'm missing, guys. Let me just see what you all are saying. Let me see. Remember Borderlands? I want the new game already, but I fear it will be woke. Oh no, dude, it's over. Borderlands is cooked. It's done. I don't know. I'm serious. Like I have Borderlands 3, and I hated it. And the people who are writing these now, forget it. I've
never been a fan of Borderlands, but like,
Yeah.
what was wrong with the last one? I wouldn't know.
The writing was really cringy. They had different people on. They were obviously ideologically possessed writers. They kind of lost the plot with these, like, you know, there's this thing that you can tell you're dealing with, like, ideologically possessed, like, progressive writers, because they inject present day everything into their product. And so like the main villains of Borderlands 3 were like streamers. And I was like, why do streamers exist in Borderlands? Like, you know, it was just obvious.
I remember hearing that. It's like a brother and sister, like, streamer duo or something.
Yeah, and they weren't really compelling villains. They weren't, you know, everything was a little bit safe. The game was bigger in scale, but it was also like broken in a lot of ways. Like I went into somebody's co-op game randomly, and this guy gave me a gun that was so busted that I was able to, like, I ended up beating everything, and I was like, oh, wow, I'm bored. I did this to myself. But yeah, I think they
just like ruined like your own progression because the gun was way overpowered.
Yeah, like I couldn't benefit from anything else. So, and it was like, should I sell it? Like I wasn't
So it kind of
sure.
like ruined like the loop of what should be like a looter shooter because you already had the best thing. So it's just a run and gun at that point.
Yeah, basically. And it was like the gun was so broken that I didn't even have to use my abilities or anything. So it just kind of killed it. But I think the other thing is that I think Borderlands 2 was actually the start of that problem. And it was the loot problem, because you would get so much junk. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I started thinking about it, you know, like, what am I doing? I'm accomplishing missions and goals, and I'm getting rewards, and I'm picking up loot drops. And I basically end up sifting through it for most of the game. Like, oh, this is garbage, this is garbage, this is... And most of what I get is trash, because they added so many weapons that you end up throwing out like 99% of them, because you're only going to be able to carry a few, and you might as well just get the best ones. So I don't know, I can't get into it. It's kind of like my problem with Diablo as well. Like, you click on an enemy until they die, and then you grab all their stuff, and then you click on the next enemy until he dies, and you grab all his stuff, and that's kind of like the loop. And it's one of the reasons why I really like Dark Souls, the Souls series, because at least the ones where there's loot, so like, you know, Dark Souls series and Elden Ring, is that you can there's a very short list of weapons compared to most other games, and so you can pick the one you like and then just do a build around that, and then, you know, work on that. And so that's what I like. Like, I made a and I think I was playing through Dark Souls 1 again like a few months ago just for fun, and I decided to just go with a straight cleric build. I never did it before. Only faith spells. You know, I use a mace. I have like the paladin armor or whatever it was, and that was it. Like, I didn't care if I was fat rolling. I had a big shield, and I just maxed out the mace, and I really liked it. I was like, this, you know, I was able to make that work. Because one of the things, again, with these like other games, sometimes they'll give you a weapon or something, and they're basically telling you that you should use this. Are you doing that on purpose to yourself? Oh, is it to get this
No,
thing?
I didn't see that last whirlwind there.
Oh, you didn't see it?
There we go.
Ooh, stone blood. Anyway, but yeah, I'm not. If you like looter shooters, I also got into Destiny for a little while, and I had a lot of fun playing it with my wife and my brother. That was basically the only thing I did with it, though, was play with them. So. Whoa.
Should be okay.
Okay.
Fuck. These ones are like, those little ones are new. Oh, holy shit! I've never had that happen before. These things are everywhere here.
Yeah.
I hope there's something good in this building. Makes it worth it. I don't, fuck.
Dude, your health. Oh.
Why is that hurting me? I'm fucking inside. I should be okay. Holy shit. I don't even know if there's anything in here. Oh, there's this. Not worth it. Very much not worth it.
Is it like a vacuum that you took damage from?
Yeah, they're like penetrating the from the ceiling. Kind of hard to see in here. Really hard to see. Get the fuck away from this place.
Yeah.
I like the concept of looter shooters a lot more than I actually enjoy any looter shooter I've played. I did play a bit of Destiny. I really liked the gunplay. I thought Bungie did a good job with that. But
As they
overall, like I
always
really
do.
hated the game, and I thought it was very like monetarily scummy.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was later on. I played it like early when Peter Dinklage was still doing the voice of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did they get rid of him on that?
I don't know. I think it was, well, first of all, he was really phoning it in anyway, but I think it's because maybe he was asking for more money and they just couldn't afford to do that, you know. It was kind of weird. Why would you even, like, isn't the whole point that he's, you know, a dwarf? And you're just, all you're getting is his voice? It seems, I mean, he's got a good voice. Don't get me wrong, but...
Wasn't he like big mad about the new like Snow White movie where he didn't want any,
You know, everybody says that. I gotta tell you, hot take, I don't think he was mad. I think he was joking. And I think people used it to essentially try to make their case stronger against the Snow White movie. Because I listened to the clip because it always gets brought up, right? And I don't think he's actually ass mad about it. I think he's laughing about it and making a crack. He might even be taking the piss out of Hollywood a little bit, you know, by basically saying, allow me to get offended on their behalf. Because honestly, we don't even need dwarves to do dwarves. I don't know if you guys have seen the Lord of the Rings movies, but none of the dwarves in those movies are actually dwarves. They're regular people, and they just use like clever, you know, makeup and camera to make them look like dwarves. And they could totally do that for Snow White. They don't actually have to get, you know, is it okay to say midget? They don't actually have.
I'm like, I don't even care if it's not okay. That's the term I'm going with.
Yeah,
Like I
right.
don't care.
I think dwarf sounds a little too like safe. I like midget more.
Dwarf
So-
sounds like Lord of the Rings ish, and it's weird to
it's
me.
a little too fantasy.
And little person sounds really demeaning.
It really does. Little person.
Like, oh, like you're not a full person. You're a
Small,
little person.
an SMOL person, small. Okay, but anyway, let me go back to the chat. But yeah, no, I don't think he was really offended. I think he was fucking around, and I think that
He
he
didn't defend himself against that though. Like he got a lot of scrutiny, and he didn't say like I was joking or whatever. It's like a defense.
I mean, yeah, he didn't, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think if he would have come out and said I was joking, it would have just like made it worse, right?
It would look like a cop out.
Yeah, it would look like a cop out, and then he would be in trouble with like the people who essentially sign his checks. So what might be is that he was on a podcast because it was this little podcast, whatever, and they were just freeballing, and he just said something, and didn't really think about it too much. I mean, like how many? I don't, you know, like, are they gonna get him to play all the dwarves? Like, what would he want? And the thing about Hollywood too is a lot of these actors, they're so whorish for work that they'll say anything, right? They just want work. Like they're just like complete prostitutes about that. So I think maybe he got, you know, something he said got out, and then he was like, well, I'm just gonna shut up about it and I'm not gonna say anything. But when I listen to it, I don't get a sense that he's genuinely offended. So he's probably thick-skinned. I think you have to be if you're that little.
Я до полковника.
I mean, he was in Elf or whatever, and they were blatantly making fun of him for being a midget.
Oh, is that the one with Will Ferrell? Will Ferrell?
Yeah,
I never saw that movie.
it was good.
Yeah. It's one of
Will
those
Ferrell
I've
used to
heard
be funny.
about, but I remember those days.
Yeah, it's been a while. Some of them don't hold up. Like Talladega Nights, I didn't think held up.
I've never seen that one. I think what did I see? I think I saw
Step Brothers, I don't think holds up either.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I didn't really get
Yep.
into it.
The Other Guys is still funny, I think.
The Other Guys? Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah. I did watch that one.
Таких командирів,
Um,
як полковник Коршунов, навіть на одиниці.
What do you think about Mark Wahlberg?
Про бійців піклується.
You
Сам
heard that he
завжди
found
Запитай кого
Christ, right?
завгодно. Усі
Yeah, I like that he's like super Catholic. I think that's cool.
вогонь,
Yeah.
воду та будь-яку срану.
What do you think about his hate crime conviction from back in the day?
What was the hate crime? I didn't know about that.
So, you know, from what I remember, like he used to like hate Asians, and he like beat the shit out of one. Like he almost beat one to death by like shouting slurs at him.
It's weird.
And he apologized to the guy like after he got famous, and the guy I think said like "fuck off." Like he didn't like accept the apology.
That's funny. That's a weird prejudice. Like it's a bit. it's like
Asians are so
somebody's-
chill. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, can't
yeah. I
imagine
mean,
hating
I guess it depends on which Asians. Like, is it Filipinos or is it Chinese people? My mother-in-law has a strong dislike for Chinese people. She really does. Because I think it's because she finds them rude. She lives in Canada because my wife's Canadian. So my mother-in-law lives in Calgary, Alberta. And she is concerned that the Chinese are basically taking over the country, which is probably true. BC and Vancouver, it's basically like China. Like there's so many Chinese people there, and she really is prejudiced against Chinese people, and I think it's funny.
Not to mention, like lately,
Blacks don't
there's
like
been
Chinese people very much either. So.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's why the Stop Asian Hate thing didn't last very long.
Yeah.
Because then they had to look into the statistics of who's brutalizing Asians, and they're like, oh, okay, they're not white people.
Yeah.
Why can't I pull my gun out here?
Let me see. Not familiar with Zerang says, not familiar with this game. What's going on? This is Stalker 2. It's a survival game with some horror elements, and it takes place. Is it like in the future, or is it like an alternate timeline where Chernobyl...
I think it's alt history where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a second detonation or something happened in Chernobyl, which caused like all these weird anomalies and mutants and shit.
Yeah, and Chernobyl's where this takes place, right?
Yeah, the game is. I don't always know what's going on story wise, but the game and the gameplay itself and the world is very immersive.
Yeah.
This is a game I could see myself playing through more than once, and some of the quests are pretty open ended, and so like there's definitely some replay value to be had.
Yeah. And they're speaking Ukrainian, Zerings, in case you don't know. So, I hope you brushed up. Master Go, I answered his question too. He said it's Fallout if it was set in Ukraine.
Well, I do love Fallout, so that checks out.
Yeah. Master Go
Not 4
says
though.
I only played 3, but I did enjoy it.
New Vegas is a must play.
I heard. Yeah, I know. I should get into that. Master Goa says, I think it's funny that libs cry about cultural appropriation, so they would rather be uncultured swine. I'll embrace culture I like, such as Chinese culture. They can call me sexist. I'll own that one. Thank you, Master Goa. Yeah, I mean, like, they want... Here's the thing that a lot of people have to keep in mind is the goal of wokies, the left, the gay race communists, whatever you want to call them, is to demoralize us, and one of the ways they do it is to separate us from our identities and one of the ways they do that is to pretend as though all identities are the same and there should not be distinctions. And they themselves are often also already demoralized. That's why they push this on other people, because they can't stand that the rest of us are having a good time, because that means that we're not demoralized. So demoralization is the primary goal. After that, it's normalization. Watch Yuri
Is this
Bezmenov
like
interviews
Yuri
for more.
Bezmenov?
It is,
Nope,
but it's
yep.
true though. It's true. So we have the power in that. We have complete control over that in our own lives.
Охороняє час.
That's what Borderlands is about, min-maxing guns. I like that, though. I also love co-op. I love co-op games, too. What I think would make Borderlands good, maybe it wouldn't work, but maybe a crafting system or something so that you can make use of the junk and, like, combine guns and make new guns. I don't know. But then that might take time away from playing the game, you know? Especially if you're playing with friends. Master Goa says, honestly, looting guns was the best part of Cyberpunk for me. I have actually been having a lot of fun playing Cyberpunk 2077, not gonna lie. Now that I have found a way to optimize it on my machine, because like my machine's like 5 years old, so I have to like move a lot of things around to get it to work, but I have it working. And yeah, I'm gonna start streaming it again because I want to talk about the setting and how it relates to our world. I think Cyberpunk 2077 is one of those games that accidentally makes a good point about modernity, even though the people who made it probably don't realize it.
Many such cases.
Yeah. Let's see. Zering says, I preferred crafting. Now, crafting is so tedious and lackluster to me, ridiculously resource intensive. I'd rather just buy resources than break stuff down. Yeah. Master Goa says, I think Peter Dinklage is overrated.
Зараз моя мета.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a leading man, even though they tried making him one multiple times. Wasn't he in like a Cyrano de Bergerac movie, but instead of having a big nose, he was a midget? I didn't watch it, so
I don't know.
I think you're right, Pat Mastergo. I think him being a midget is one of the things that keeps him relevant because he's got like everybody in Hollywood has to have something they lean on. That's why so many people just come out as gay when they stop getting work. Oh, I'm gay now. Oh, here's work. So, because you know, being gay, you can't like you can just say it. You can just claim it. I'm non-binary. A lot of women. How many women are
Jack
non-binary?
Black keep getting work? He's the same. He's just himself in every movie. Like it's enough. Like I've had it.
I don't know. I like.
I don't want to see the Minecraft movie with Jack Black.
No, of course not. Or what about the one where it's like the Christmas movie where he plays the devil?
Oh, dude, that shit was so fucking cringe. I hope nobody watches that.
I hope no. I hope so too.
Well, Satan is silly and misunderstood. Like, no, suck my fucking balls with that fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jack Black is definitely in too many things. But this is the thing we're at with Hollywood now, though. They find like a few people and they put them in so much shit that you're just exhausted. Like, it doesn't matter how good they are. So let me just put that out there first. If you just see too much of the same thing, the same person, especially if they don't really have a lot of range, you're just seeing the same. They're playing the same character. Yeah, I mean that. I don't know, man. He must have like a killer agent, or there's no one else that's doing what he does. Like, what happened to Zach Galifianakis? Did he like piss people off? Because he could be doing the Jack Black stuff. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah.
They do have that same like archetype.
Yeah, we need like another fat guy with like hair. Let's get
a fat, unruly, like
man-child.
Yeah,
that's the thing. They like the man-child actors a lot, and I think Will Ferrell was that for a long time, as well as Seth Rogen and like all those guys.
Oh, him too. I'm so sick of him.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting work anymore.
I liked some of his older stuff though, for sure. Like Superbad, I thought was awesome.
I liked Superbad. I liked The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I have quoted the shit out of that movie.
Great movie.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Also, Elizabeth Banks in that movie, peak.
Yeah,
totally
she
peak.
was.
She's really annoying though, but
Spider-Man. She was in Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire one. She was hot in that too.
The Tobey Maguire one.
Yeah.
What?
Elizabeth Banks is in that movie. I swear to God, she is.
As who?
She plays Betty Brant, the woman that works at the Bugle. With the short bob haircut. That's Elizabeth Banks.
Is this in two or three?
No, she was in the first one. It was in all three of them. She was in all three of
them.
Her role was really small.
I did watch that one recently. I don't remember that.
The original one, her role is pretty small in that. It's basically like the Bugle staff. It's like the three people, right? It's Betty Brant. It's J. Jonah Jameson, and it's the co-editor guy, the black guy. I don't remember his name. It's like on the tip of my tongue. But they were really well done too. I still love that movie. But yeah, Betty Brant was in that, and he asks her
I
out
watched-
at one point, or at least he tries to hit on her, and it just like she deflects like immediately.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, you gotta look it up. Yeah, that's.
I watched Spider-Man 1 again like recently, and I was like this movie holds up really well. Like it's amazing.
It does.
And it's not
yeah.
subversive at all, by the way. It's actually pretty
it's
based.
very based. Yes, it's very morally.
Also,
I think
Peter Parker makes fun of Randy Savage and calls him gay too, like in the ring. It's so funny. Oh, did your husband make that for you? Like, holy shit, based.
It's a great movie. I think Sam Raimi, the director, he's like friends with like the people he's worked with, right? One of those people is Kevin Sorbo. We know Kevin Sorbo is like openly conservative, right? Very vocal.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if one of the reasons why Sam Raimi has always had trouble with Hollywood is because he doesn't necessarily line up with them ideologically. And that's why guys like him and Bruce Campbell and other people that he's worked with, they're kind of on the fringes. And you know what? That's fine. Like, I prefer that, in fact.
Is Bruce Campbell a right winger?
I don't know. But I mean, he doesn't talk about his politics, so that kind of tells you, right? Because if he was a lefty, he'd be like virtue signaling on social media. He doesn't do any of that. He talks about work and that's it. I think like the people in Hollywood that kind of keep their head down, they're probably non-leftists. I don't want to say conservative, but non-leftists. So,
yeah, could be right.
Let's see. Let's see what the chat is saying. Mark Wahlberg was in a movie I like, The Big Hit. Oh, dude, I love The Big Hit. I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but me and my friends, we watched it, and we were. It's so ridiculous. Have you ever seen this movie, The Big Hit?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Okay, it's kind of B. I guess you could say it's a B movie. It's a Mark Wahlberg movie, but it's got like, is it Bokeem Woodbine? I think is in it, and fucking Lou Diamond Phillips was in it, and it's really funny. It's so weird. They're like these super hit men, and there's like you know, the I can't remember the plot that well, but I just remember it was a lot of fun. It was obviously like action comedy, and there was a really attractive Asian girl in it. Kind of the plot almost sound. Oh shit, dude, you're in trouble.
The fuck is that? Holy shit! It's a bloodsucker. Fuck. Oh shit. Oh, fucking piece of shit, Mac 10. Failure to feed? Cringe.
Kill him! I'll wait till you kill him to talk. Oh, they like turn invisible and shit?
Yeah. Yep, they do.
Oh, maybe you can use those tank things, those tank traps to like impede his movement, like use the environment.
Still kicking.
Oh shit. You just empty a clip in that guy? Oh, you can kind of see him, I see.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Oh shit. What was that?
I don't really know what causes that. I know that happens when you fight them, though.
Goodness. Dude.
Shit.
They're like they look like those he looks like those guys from Blade 2. The Reapers. They were like the super vampires that the mouths opened up.
I hate to have to admit I've not seen Blade.
Oh my god, you have to watch Blade. It's so good. Okay, so the chat. I think The Good Guys is a better version of The Other Guys, and it was on television. Oh, that's the one with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, right? Yeah, The Big Hit is fun. That's all I'll say. It's fun, but it's not a great movie, but it's a funny movie. Marin Ribarek says, you think stalkers selling anomalous artifacts to Ukraine scientists would give them a technological boost? I don't... yeah. Master Goa says, as a Filipino, we come in two ways, chill and no chill. I have some Filipino friends. Oh, of course they're really
that checks out in my experience.
Yeah, they're obviously into racing. Street racing. So, because that's what Filipinos do, I guess. And my brother, he dated a Filipino girl too. Yeah, so I've had run-ins with the Filipinos. And I wouldn't say that Filipinos are the same as Chinese people or, you know, Thai people.
No, they're
It's
so
just
distinct. I
They're
think.
super distinct, yeah. Norwegian says Christopher Lee had to correct Peter Jackson on the scene where Saruman gets stabbed because he knew what it does to a person. He had stabbed a guy before while in the army. Yeah, Christopher Lee is basically James Bond. I don't know if you guys know. Or who was.
I think we talked about this on one of our.
We talked
past
about
streams,
it on on the past stream. Yeah,
I think it was probably the
badass.
GoldenEye one.
He had like a heavy metal band that he was in. Like the guy did everything.
That's a once in a lifetime figure for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's not going to be another dude like this. I used to think we were headed towards the cyberpunk future. Now I think we're more likely to achieve the Road Warrior future. Well, the cyberpunk future does have a bit of Road Warrior in it. Thank you, Master Goa. Elizabeth Gangs. Zarang says Elizabeth Banks would have made a better Mary Jane. She was hot in that. Yeah, I think it was really weird that when they did the Andrew Garfield ones, that they had what's her name? Play Mary Jane. What was the actress?
Emma Stone, I think, right?
Emma Stone. Yeah. Because she's like a natural redhead. Or no, she was a blonde, right?
Well,
Yeah, she
wasn't
was
it Gwen Stacy in that movie? It wasn't actually
Gwen
Mary Jane.
Stacy. Oh, that's right. That's what it is. She was a natural redhead, but she was playing Gwen Stacy. I thought that was weird. I think Emma Stone is all right. She doesn't strike me as annoying.
She's a huge feminist, but
She is? Oh, I haven't
which is
seen that.
yeah, it's a shame.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I haven't seen her being super vocal, so. Norwegian
Yeah, she's not
says,
as like overt as like Emma Watson or anything like that.
Yeah. A Norwegian says Spider-Man 1 had a fantastic soundtrack. You mean the score by Danny Elfman? I like the music, except one thing I didn't like is the what's her name? Macy Gray song. I didn't like that. That was just, and she had that cameo where the Green Goblin shows up. That was something, by the way. It goes back to what I was saying about the director, Sam Raimi. He did not want to put her in the movie because he didn't want to do cameos, but the studio pressured him. Essentially, they were like, "Well, we want you to cross promote like her music, and we're gonna have you put her in the movie." So he had to put her in the movie
Because it's Sony, right? I mean, like they have a huge
Sony.
like music division,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that makes sense.
Nobafan says, I remember a lefty made a lengthy meme about the "Did your boyfriend make that for you?" which is why we say the left can't meme. Yes, of course. They need to do that. That's why they can't meme, is because their whole thing is based in their ability to use rhetoric, right? Rhetoric is not truth.
Yeah.
Rhetoric is just using words to change reality. So they need to do that because they're trying to change your mind, and they know that the truth is not enough. So they have to use rhetoric, and that means that it's going to take them a long time because they have to fuck with the meaning of words. Those tank traps made from 3 I-beams are Czech hedgehogs. Oh. John Ford said, I have all 4 Blade movies. Wait a minute. 4 Blade movies? I don't know about a 4th Blade movie.
Did they
Unless
make
there's
like
something-
some straight to DVD ones?
No, I don't think they did. Unless I'm wrong, I only know about Blade 2, so Blade 1, which is solid. I love it. Blade 2, which was directed by Guillermo del Toro, so that's why it has a more fantastical and weird angle, but I like that one just as much. Blade Trinity, which is the one with Ryan Reynolds, which I don't hate. It's the weakest one, but I don't think it's bad. It just needs more Blade, but I heard like that Wesley Snipes was a super prima donna at that point. So, but that's all I know about. So I don't know about a 4th one. Zarang says the good guys is Colin Hanks and Brad Whitford. The nice guys was Russell Crowe. Oh, I don't know what the good guys is then. Colin Hanks and Brad. That might be a more recent movie. Yeah, I don't know about that one. All right, we got like 15 minutes.
Sorry, chat. I feel like there's a lot that we had missed, but you know we definitely talked a lot on this one.
I read a lot. I read almost everything.
Oh shit!
Robert Johnson says the British do not season their food. I blame them for the stereotype. Well, that's what I'm saying. They use. Yeah, you get it. I don't know. Do the Germans though? Because I've been to a German restaurant. It's definitely like meat,
Нічого незвичного.
but I don't know if the seasoning is necessary. Who cares? Like I got sausage for days.
Лише дам про Нестора.
I know I've had Irish food that was pretty bland.
But shepherd's pie though.
A good shepherd's pie is amazing, but I don't feel like I have amazing
my
shepherd's
wife
pie as
makes
often.
a really good shepherd's pie. And
Hell
as a
yeah.
matter of fact, I might pressure her to do that today because it was so good. And it's not hard to make.
Паяльник.
No,
Нестора.
pretty simple.
Знати, куди
Yeah.
повинні.
Master Goa says, about breaking away from leftist framework, you can't use their terminology. I will never call myself cishet like they want. Yeah, don't use their words. I'm telling you, don't use their... And I mean, some of the words that you shouldn't use are even like ones that we have forgotten that they've created. I think that, like, some people say that... Oh, look, that's cool. Some people say that, is there like a melee attack? Like, you can do like a quick, like, rifle butt thing? Or is it just like the knife? Oh, cool. Okay. What was I gonna say? Yeah. For example, the word capitalism. That's a commie word. Like that's not what you should say instead when these people talk about capitalism, because they use that as a way to get their talking points in. But if you just call it like property rights, because that's all we're talking about, is like, do I own the things that I make or build or pay for? Then yeah, it's mine. Like that's it. Like they can't debunk that. Like otherwise they get caught up in all this other shit. Like what, I don't know, like who decides what things cost or what is considered property. And they don't know. Like that most of them are midwits. They just want to be able to take your shit. And they will use language to give themselves power so that they can do that to you. And ultimately that is what it's going to do. They're going to violate your rights, because they don't believe in that you should have them. Consumer is another big one. Most people don't see how degrading that word is. Yeah, I mean there are people who are materialists, and I think I would call them materialists instead. There are people who think that they get their happiness from things, and they run the gamut. Like I mean, and this is one of the other problems with women too, is that they're very materialistic. Because they think that's where they get happiness, and they have been conditioned to believe that. Like they don't know that they're probably going to be much happier with children in a safe home, that like where there's a husband or a father present. It's just the reality of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We definitely have a big midwit problem in general.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of them.
Let me see. Art Forest says most spicy German food is Central/Eastern European. Oh, I didn't know that. That Moldovan chick I was dating. What a firecracker! She made me. She was, man. It like I get flashbacks. She made me borscht once, and I liked it quite a bit. She like legit made it like from scratch, and I got to have it, and I enjoyed it. And I don't think anyone in fucking Scotland is making borscht. Like, they have their own thing. So, Nobafan says, should we also refuse to operate under their framework in debates? I feel ceding to their ways of thinking, even if we disagree, gives ground to their beliefs. I agree. You have to, you should not do that. And I think the only way you can face them in a debate, first of all, you don't have to debate them, because they usually don't operate in good faith, but if you are in a situation where there has to be, you have to hold their feet to the fire on defining their terms and being very, very specific, and you have to get really spurgy about it. So like every term, you make them define it, and you make them be very specific. Marin says they have haggis. I've never had haggis. Have you ever had haggis?
No, what is it? It's like sheep stomach, I think.
Is it?
I think so.
I always get haggis mixed up with hummus, which is completely different, but...
Hummus, hummus is good shit.
Yeah, I like hummus too. Sometimes when we're fasting, we'll have hummus with, like chips as a snack.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Zarank says, but if I'm in resource acquisition, I can't simplify it to materialist. Might need the extra syllable in a pinch. They have haggis. Yeah, I already read that one. Yeah, I mean, okay. So, what do you think about your experience with Stalker so far, minus the bugs and the jank?
I think it's pretty top tier immersion. I think if you like Fallout, you should give this a shot. I think if you have Game Pass, there's no reason not to try it because you're already paying for the service. But yeah, I mean, maybe if you're a little more hesitant, like feel free to wait for some of the bugs to be patched out.
Yeah.
But if you have the Xbox and you want to jump in, like I would recommend doing so. This version seems much more stable from what I've seen from PC players so far.
Yeah.
Definitely worth your time, I think.
But it isn't an RPG, so like the way that you sort of like, I don't know, what would you call it? Like the reward system for playing the game, how does that emerge? Is it just in these sort of like these artifacts you find? They're like rings. Is it like upgrading weapons or getting new weapons? Like what is it that you have to look forward to as a player that you know of?
Honestly, like this game has so much in it that's kind of like unique, and there's very little. Like I really don't know what to expect, like in each particular corner.
Yeah.
Like as I've gotten to this like new, oh shit, I guess I'm in this zone now. But like as I've gotten out of the lesser zone into other zones, it's become like very clear like the game has much more in store than like you'd initially think. So it's really interesting to see like what lurks around every corner, whether it's new enemies, new anomalies, new guns. The upgrade systems for the guns are pretty interesting. There's attachments as well. And the artifacts seem to be pretty interesting in their effects. The ones that I'm carrying... Oh, holy shit, hold on. What the hell is that? That didn't sound good.
Might be one of those invisible dudes.
Oh, yep, you're right. That's exactly that. Fuck, hold on. Train of thought officially stopped.
It's alright. It's alright.
Oh, he's gonna fucking kill me too. He's not gonna stop.
Oh,
Fuck.
no!
That's okay. I think I just saved.
Yeah, let's hope.
I have a lot of deaths because of that one thing I talked about earlier, the poppy field thing.
Yeah.
This
does look really good. It does look good. I think that you can find reward in just exploration. I was just wondering, because some people, when you say it's sort of like Fallout, people are expecting like the Fallout
leveling up and like cool perks and shit.
Yeah. One of the things about Fallout 3 that I learned after I finished it that I didn't like was apparently Fallout 3 is one of those games that was set up so that like as you advance the enemies, they advance with you. So it's got like this thing where you're never like going into a place where you're overpowered or into a place where you're underpowered, because everything's sort of, what do you call that? It's like scaling, level scaling with the enemies. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, some people dislike that. Some people like that.
There's pros and cons to it. It's something that I've gone into like in depth. It's something I actually considered just yesterday making a video topic about, like in depth. But like for example, like Morrowind, right? The Elder Scrolls 3. Mm-hmm. That game does not do that, and so for an open world game, it does kind of limit where you can go, because there's not everywhere that you can go without just getting completely fucked up. Whereas like Oblivion didn't do that. Oblivion did the scaling thing. And so like while that can be a little immersion breaking sometimes, like late game, because it's like, oh, like here's just like this random highwayman with like the best armor in the game, so I totally get that. But at the same time, it was really nice because I could go anywhere that I wanted to go at any point. Mm-hmm. And not only that, hold on, let me kill these fucking guys.
Dude.
So stubborn. Is he still kicking? Yeah, he is. Damn.
There you go. These are on your side, I assume? Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I sided with these guys. It's condensed milk. It's like it seems like it's like the best like food item in the game. Yeah, like you can go anywhere at any time in Oblivion, which I think is very nice for replay value because I can do a different build and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go a completely different route this time, and it's a lot more viable than it would be in like Morrowind, for example.
Yeah.
So I do think there's some pros and cons to it. It's not all bad.
Yeah, maybe there's like I think in some games there's like a middle ground. Like I play Elden Ring. It's open world. You can go into any part of the map, but like they have things blocked off. Like you have to like, proceed a certain way. But there are people who find workarounds. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
it can be tricky.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe you have like areas or like large map areas that have a range of level, and then like you move to another area when.
I hear that thing, but I don't see him.
Maybe.
Oh, there he is. He sees me.
Maybe can you get to high ground? Maybe he can't do that.
No, because he hit me. Now I'm over encumbered. I can't move.
Oh shit! Oh shit! He's gonna kill
One of those status effects. I fucking hope not. These guys aren't really helping me.
Yeah,
They
right.
were a second ago.
He's just like looking at you. Oh shit! There were two of them. Oh shit!
Holy shit. He's just wailing on me. Heal, 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 heal.
Oh shit!
Shit, reload. Your life literally depends on it. Oh, he's gonna kill me again, isn't he?
Oh.
Fuck me. Luckily,
Sorry,
I just saved.
We'll
It's
do
okay. It's
yeah.
the
We'll
end of
do
the stream
another
anyway.
one more. Well, yeah, we could end the stream here. Let me read some more comments and let's see. And also, guys, we're gonna do another stream on Saturday. Do you want to see more Stalker 2? I assume you do. I mean, I do. But let me know.
Yeah,
what
we
you guys
could
think.
also go back to Stranglehold if you guys want. Otherwise, we could
whatever.
do Stalker 2. We could do Mega Man 1. There's a bunch of games I have picked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I have some too. I want to do Resistance, Fall of Man.
I wish we could do that online co-op. That game's so
yeah,
fun.
they don't have online though for that. What, did you just immediately die? What the fuck? Oh no, you're in slow motion.
Yeah, I think
alright.
it just knocked me down.
Let me just read these comments and then we'll like wind it down. So a Norwegian says, if the enemies scale with you, then what's the point of perks and level ups? Yes. A Norwegian also said earlier, short fat otaku loves being vague with his terms and ideas. Can't watch the Archcast anymore when he's on. Yeah, so here's what I'll say about SFO or short fat otaku, Dev. His problem is the same that a lot of these guys suffer from. They're still liberals, and it's fine. I get it. Like, I have some liberal beliefs as well, but they're not willing to challenge their ideology, their worldview, because they believe that it is the superior one, and this is their problem. So they're always this is what you know what liberals do now. What liberals are doing? They're calling themselves politically homeless. You know why they're doing that? Because they're afraid to admit that they've been wrong. This is like sunken cost fallacy. They've invested in their worldview for a long time, and they can't be like, you know what? I had it all wrong. This is not going to work. It's going to get people hurt. It's going to get people killed. It's going to and it already has, right? And SFO can't reckon with that. He has to find a way to do the both sides thing, which is also a myth and it's bullshit. And a lot of these people they're just engaging in containment. I'll name a few names so you guys see where I'm coming from, okay? So Short Fat Otaku is one. Dave Rubin is another one. Trigonometry is one. To some degree, Zuby is like this as well. It's containment. They're just like, Tim Pool to some is also like this too, somewhat. It's like I gotta like defend the status quo, or James Lindsay is another one. I want to go back to the 90s. That's like their kind of thing. Let's go back to the 90s. But the problem is that you're just pulling the you're just pushing the boulder back up the hill halfway, and then you let go, and it just rolls back down. And
Yeah, like our society's in stage 4 cancel. Let's go back to stage 2.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. And what you have to do is we can find a solution that it's going to minimize like a potential fallout, but it starts with admitting that liberalism is the problem and not the solution. Like it is the problem. Like it has to be completely reworked. Like and to essentially operate from this presumption that liberalism is like the moral, like end all because that's what they think it is. And it just has to do with their identity, right? Their identity is being challenged here. I'm gonna give you one more chance to kill this guy.
I don't have a lot of faith. But we'll see.
You could do it.
With two of them, they're tough enough
Is
one
it,
on one.
Oh yeah, there's a guy coming right now. You know what would be really cool? Because these guys turn invisible and shit, right?
Oh.
It's kind
No,
of
there's no
bullet
way.
Spongy. Yeah, you're dead.
Super.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to, yeah, it's fine. I'll have to re-strategize later. I'll have to get to
we'll
higher
figure
ground.
out.
I'll have to bait the NPCs into helping me.
Yeah, you know what would be kind of neat, and I'm not saying we should do this now, but because there should be like a mechanic for, because I noticed that when he was running around, you could sort of see like him making splashes in the puddles. So like I think it'd be kind of cool if there was a way to like an item that filled the air with dust or something, so that when they're moving you can see them. You can see the maybe that's a little too advanced on the particle physics for me, but anyway. Master Goa says SFO is too close to Brianna Wu for my taste. Yeah, see, Brianna Wu, this is the thing. It's the same thing going back to Nala. Brianna Wu makes an admission. Oh, I was wrong and I kind of went overboard and now they're coming after me. But all it is essentially just reorienting the victimhood. Whereas before, it was like everyone's transphobic and she was injecting herself into shit. Like nobody gave a shit about Brianna Wu. But he was injecting himself into shit. I'm sorry. And
Okay, I'm glad that you said that. Okay,
Yeah,
it's been too long, and I've been too embarrassed to ask.
It's a
I couldn't
mistake.
tell if Brianna was a troon or if Brianna was ugly.
Brianna's both ugly troon. But
Okay,
they were.
that's what I thought.
No, he was injecting himself into shit and calling people as transphobic or whatever. And then when that stopped working and enough time had passed, and then we had October 7th, all of a sudden now she's like, worried about the anti-Semitism. So it's just a matter of she's just rebranding her victimhood, or he is rebranding his victimhood. And SFO, in defense of liberalism, is basically coming to the rescue. So, and yeah,
so many people on our side, like in this space, have called Brianna a she for so long that I've been so confused. I'm like, because my gut tells me this is a troon, but everyone says she. I'm like,
no, it's a dude. Okay. I made that mistake too. I keep making that mistake, So anyway,
well, because it's a girl's name, so like instinctively, it's like, Brianna, she,
right,
yeah. But that has confused me for like a decade.
Yeah. Zerang says, aren't we kind of going back to the 90s anyway? We may revert and take a new path. Honestly, it feels like the 80s. It feels like 1980, honestly, to me, with the election and everything. But we can definitely, correct course so that it's not... Because I'm not afraid of this whole, the last thing I want to be considered is conservative, whatever the hell that even means anymore. I'm just like, I'm just me. What are your values? That's all I'm saying, guys. Just what are your values? Figure those out and don't worry about what that is called or what it means and just live them. Because these people want to put everybody in a box except for themselves. All right. Nova Fan says, given their birth name, we can continue with the Brandon memes. Brianna's real name is John Flint. John Walker Flint. That's his real name.
I'll be sure to call him that from now on.
Yeah, just try to think of him as John Flint, and maybe you'll stop misgendering him. All right, but anyway, we gotta wrap it up because I gotta go pick up my wife. So, Dev is Canadian. Lol, nobody cares. Yeah, Canada's cooked, guys. It's over. It's over for Canada cells. So anyway, let's wrap it up. So do you want to say the final things before I take us out?
Just thanks everyone for coming out. Definitely give Stalker 2 a shot. It's a little bit more of a difficult, more hardcore game, but I think it's worth your time.
I did.
But yeah, otherwise, thanks for coming out.
All right. Well, thanks guys for coming on the stream. Please, if you're watching on YouTube and you're watching Honey Badger Arcade, then consider giving this a like and a subscribe and sharing it out. So thanks guys for coming on the stream. We'll talk to you guys in the next video. Long live Vivian. See you later.